So a few days ago, I got around to editing some of the videos I had taken from harvest and put together a little YouTube video. So go ahead and, if you haven't seen that yet, go ahead and go watch it. It'll just show you a little bit of our harvest operation, how that works. Behind me, this is a 1977 Kenworth w900a. If you haven't seen the video where I introduced it, I will put a link to it in the description so you can go ahead and watch that. So I had mentioned that we'd been doing quite a bit of work to it. We had swapped Peterbilt airleaf from a parts truck that I had found on KSL Classifieds, but we kind of threw it together a little quick because we needed to use the truck for some spring work. So during the summertime, me and my dad took it all apart, took the rear ends out and did a bunch more work to it. I'll show you some of the things we had to do. So we had to take the axles out from under it. There were a whole bunch of seals. We pretty much replaced all of the input and output seals on the rear ends. We had to have these plates made. This ties into the air leaf. We had to relocate a bunch of the cross members. Almost all of the hoses back here are new. This truck used to just be a straight truck. It had a 20-foot Spudnik potato bed on it, and then we pulled a 20-foot Western pup trailer that was a hopper bottom. That's how we used it in harvest. With that setup, we were legal to gross about 84,000 pounds. With this airleaf suspension, it didn't really work with that bed on it. It just oscillated too bad when it was loaded. So we didn't need the belt drive potato bed anymore because we don't raise potatoes. So we drug the fifth wheel plate out of the weeds and got it mounted back up. That was also a project. When we took the airleaf off of the old truck, the parts truck, I realized that there were a lot of problems with how it was set up. And so these are called airleaf pedestals. So this bracket here, the U-bolts go through it and then it comes back. And this is all one piece, and the airbag sits on top of this pedestal. So this is the bottom of the pedestal you can see here. So on a Peterbilt airleaf suspension, there are brackets that are welded onto your axle tubes. Your axle tube right here. And these brackets are what the pedestal sits down on. So the pedestals were sitting straight onto the axle. So that caused a lot of problems over the years. The pedestals were all broken up. Some of them were cracked. So I had a local machine shop weld those back up as good as they could. And then me and my dad made some templates out of cardboard. That's a farmer engineering right there, right? So we made these templates out of cardboard, took them to our machine shop, and they made us some blocks out of metal that fit the pedestals. And then I welded those blocks onto the axle tube just a few days ago, actually. The problem we were having, and throughout the course of harvest, these pedestals were shifting out towards the tire. So basically the U-bolts weren't able to be strong enough to hold them, and there was forces that were pushing the pedestals out. These airbags, you can see this bolt right in there. That bolts through the airbag, through the bottom flange on the frame. And so as these pedestals shifted over, the bottom of this pedestal was moving towards the tire, so it was making the airbag misaligned. And the farther we got into harvest, the more out of alignment the airbags got. So we finished up harvest and then parked the truck, and just a few days ago I loosened the U-bolts and shifted those pedestals over and welded the blocks on. So hopefully that will hold them so they don't shift anymore. But I wanted to air up the suspension to make sure they look good. So I have the truck plugged in. All right, let's see if this thing will start. Okay, so you'll be able to see the suspension start airing up. The airbags will start raising up off of the pedestals. They are a little bit already. Let me show you a little bit about how this process works. So right over here, there's called what's known as a leveling valve. And so this lets air into the air lines that fill the airbags. And once it reaches a certain ride height, this valve will shut the air off going to the airbags. So that way it maintains a constant height, whether you're bobtail or whether you're loaded. Your suspension will stay at the same height. So they're getting close to where they're supposed to be now. So this one, you can see it's not quite perfectly straight. It looks pretty good. I probably should have loosened my U-bolts and moved it out towards the tire a little bit, but I think it's going to be good enough. And this one looks really good. Yeah, that one looks nice and straight. So then there's two more airbags. There's one right there. That looks good. And one right there. That looks good. So I would say it is a success for now. I guess we'll see when we put a load on it and use it for another harvest or in the springtime, how it does, you know, having a load on it for a couple weeks. I think that's it for today. I just want to tell you thank you for watching. The video that I made about our Peterbilt 359 actually just went over 10,000 views, so that's like a big milestone for me. I just want to say thank you for all of those who have subscribed, and if you just found our channel, please like our videos and subscribe.